What is the best skip trace site for surplus funds? So welcome back to the channel, and I'm super excited because in this video I'm going to be answering a super common question I get, which is something along the lines of which skip trace site should I use, what's the best skip trace site, what are some free skip trace sites. I'm going to be covering all of that and more in this video, so make sure you stay all the way to the end because you want to make sure you evaluate all your options with skip tracing. You know, depending on where you're at, is going to really change on what skip trace site you should be using. But before we jump into that, make sure you guys drop a like on this video. Of course, subscribe, hit the notification bell to see when our next video comes out. And more importantly, once per month, we actually give out some free mini courses on surplus funds that we normally charge for. We give them out for free for people that get notified. So make sure that you, again, subscribe and click that notification bell, and let's jump right into it. So when we're talking about skip trace sites, you got to understand that we're really talking about this really broad range of potential sites. On one extreme, you have free websites such as True People Search, Fast People Search, even like White Pages Basic, I'm pretty sure is free. And then on the other side, you're looking at companies like TLO and Nexus Lexus and IDI Core and companies like that that cost, you know, $1 or 50 cents per search. And if you do, you know, 500 searches in a month, you're looking at like $500 plus probably $100, $200 monthly fee. So you can really start investing a lot of money in your skip tracing. And so we're looking at this big scale because of course we've got those two sides and everything in between. And really the key thing to remember is, you know, where you want to start with skip tracing really depends on where you're at in your journey of entrepreneurship, whether you have more available capital or you have more available time to put into it. And we're going to be talking about that in this video, but I want to start by saying there's a big range of potential skip trace sites to choose from. And you really kind of got to know that going into it. Now, the other thing that's important with that range, you know, obviously the more money you put into it, the more accurate typically it's going to be, okay? So for example, you know, with True People Search, I've talked to people before that are using True People Search and they're getting, I don't know, one correct phone number out of 50 phone calls, right? Or 1 out of 100 in some cases, right? So it's not very accurate. Meanwhile, I talk to people with, you know, TLO or IDI Core or some of these other companies and, you know, they're getting 1 out of 5, right? 1 out of 7, 1 out of 10. I mean, it's super duper accurate. It's at least 5 to 10 times more accurate than True People Search is. And so you really got to ask yourself a question how valuable is your time to you? Because while you can still get results with surplus funds with one of the less accurate skip trace sites, you know, the question is, well, how many hours a day do I want to put into calling? You know, you think about True People Search, if it takes you 10 times longer to be accurate, then it's going to take you 10 times longer to get a deal than if you went with a more expensive one. And so you got to ask yourself the question is money, you know, what's my limiting factor? Is it my time? Do I not have a lot of time to put into this? Or is it my money? I just don't really have any money to put into it. If it's the money, then your only option really is to go with some of the freer options or some of the less expensive $30 a month options. If it's, you know what, hey, I have a little bit extra money I can throw into this, then it might be time to jump up into a TLO or something along the lines of that. Now, kind of going off that for a second, I really want to make this point clear to you. If you're someone right now that says, hey, I have more time but less money, then you're looking on this side of the scale with the free skip trace sites, the $30, $50 per month Spokio, bin verified, stuff like that, okay? And if you're someone that has less time but more money, then you're looking on this side of the scale where you're looking at like a TLO and IDI Core. But furthering that point, the main problem that you're going to see with some of these sites, the TLO and the IDI Core and stuff like that, is, you know, not necessarily the cost of it. The cost is one thing. Look, you can either afford it or you can't afford it. It really just comes down to that, right? But the other layer that people don't think about when it comes to these skip trace sites is how easy is it to get approved? You know, I'm not throwing shade at TLO. I've got nothing against them. They have amazing data. But quite frankly, TLO can be kind of a pain in the butt to get access to. I mean, you know, you got to talk to someone on the phone. They want to verify that you're a real company. They want to send someone to your house or your office to make sure you have a paper shredder. I mean, it gets a little bit ridiculous. And at the end of the day, as you know, accurate as that data is, there's a lot of people that I know, and I'm one of them, that's like, I don't really want to deal with all that. Is it really worth it when I could get something with 90% of the results with 1% of the hassle, right? And so what you'll notice with this kind of scale of skip trace sites is the more accurate that you get, the more money that you're putting into it, the more of a pain in the butt it typically is to get access to it. The more they're going to want to come to your, literally send someone to your office, walk around it. The more that they're going to want to, I don't want to say harass you, but ask you a million questions, and it gets ridiculous. Okay, but they're doing that because they have very accurate data, and they have to protect their data. They can't just give it to people. They've got celebrities on there. They've got all these people on there that they can't just give away information to. Okay. So at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself the question is, do I really want to go through all of that pain to get access to this? And if you're serious about surplus funds, the answer should be yes, right? If this is something you're just starting out with, then maybe you don't start with that. Maybe even if you have a little bit more extra money, maybe you start somewhere more towards the middle, get a couple deals going through, make sure this is something you really want to do, and then you can upgrade. And that's always an option as well. But I wanted to make that clear that a lot of times for the more expensive skip trace sites, there is a big hassle and this huge process to get on board that can take weeks and weeks and weeks, and it is, I don't want to say a nightmare, but it is very annoying. Now, I get asked this all the time. Spencer, I work 18 hours a day as an insert job here. I'm a single father, single mother, I've got 2 kids, I have like 1 hour a day that I can make calls, and I have no money. Okay, what do I do? What skip trace site do I use? Well, listen, at this point, you basically have 2 options. Option number 1 is, you go with a free site, and listen, you gotta expect it's gonna take a long time, right? If you're calling 1 hour a day with a not very accurate skip trace site that's 10% accurate, that means it's gonna take you, for every 10 hours you call, you're really only calling 1 hour if it's 10% accurate. And so if it takes 20 hours to get a deal, that means you would have to call 200 hours. And if you're calling an hour a day, you're looking at 200 days before you get a deal, right? So expect it to take a long time. If you only have an hour a day to make calls and you're using a free site, it's gonna take a little while, right? Now on the flip side, if you say, well, I don't wanna do that, I wanna get results as quickly as possible, but I don't have any money, I don't have any time, what do I do? Well, listen, your only other option is put it on a credit card or bring in a partner. Bring in someone that is wanting to work with you, and bring them in as an equity partner, and they can invest, you're investing your time in the business, they can invest their money into the business, right? And so that's kind of another option you guys can use. The last option that I've seen work, but this one, I don't recommend this one because it is super hit or miss. On one hand, it can work great, but 95% of the time it doesn't work well. And that is finding someone that will run skip trace searches for you on a Fiverr or an Upwork or something like that. A lot of the people on there, they promote that they have, TLO access, they have this access, they have that access, and then it turns out they actually don't. They're actually just using True People Search, and they're just charging you as if it was a TLO search, right? So you really got to make sure you get the right person for that, but that's a way where you can kind of cheat your way into some of the upper level stuff without actually putting down and signing a contract and being involved for 2 to 3 years and going through this whole process and all that. If you don't feel like doing all that, if you don't have the money to do all that. So kind of a neat little trick, but it's kind of hit or miss. Make sure you get the right person you're going to do that, because almost all of them will say that they have TLO access, but most of them don't actually have it. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now the last thing that I'll say too, the best skip trace sites that I've seen are typically locked behind having a business entity. So anything in the TLO, IDI core, Nexus, like that level of site is going to be locked behind you need to have a corporation or a business entity. Now, there is a way around that like we figured out. I can't share that on this video because that's something that we share inside of our program, but there is a way around it. But just know, like if you're looking to get into one of those higher level sites, 99% chance you're gonna need a business entity. So if you don't already have one, you gotta go create an LLC or an S Corp or something along the lines of that. And just know if you're gonna, again, try to sign up for one of those, you're gonna need that beforehand. And what I would recommend too, if you're gonna sign up for one of those, talk to someone first. Don't go and make a business entity and then come back, because you might not have something that they need, and you want to make sure you go into creating your entity, getting every document that you need out of it. So hopefully that makes sense, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and again, if you did, drop a like down below and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified next time we post a video, so you can comment on it, you can like that one, or if you just are a hater, leave a mean comment and hit the dislike button. But either way, I've enjoyed making this video. Hopefully this helped you guys out a little bit. And on the next video, we'll be covering some more awesome stuff, actually talking about some sales processes, how to handle rejection on the phone, kind of a little bit more of a script I'm going to be talking about on Thursday's video. So I hope you guys will enjoy that. And with that being said, I'll see you then.